Hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo Lino, and I'm a will addict. Welcome to the Out of the Box, to the latest, to the seventh. Is this the seventh? Is this the seventh Out of the Box?
Yes.
And, well, I think I have a problem here. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening here. I think we're good now. Sorry, guys. Are we okay?
Yeah, we are okay.
I don't know what they did here. Okay, anyway, to everyone watching this, I hope you guys enjoy what's about to happen. It didn't start the best way, but we have the Dutch. We have three. I can't really say that we have the Dutch team, but we have two Dutch team skaters and the Dutch coach with us. And this is going to be a cool episode. So I'm going to start with the Dutch's coach, Frank. How did you end up working as the Dutch coach?
I think it goes back a very long time because I was when I was a skater myself. I skated marathons since '95 in the Netherlands. So that's 25 years ago. So and then when I stopped skating, my first year I was coaching a marathon ice skating team, and then after that I started more to work in Inline for the Dutch and the Belgian Federation, and now since 2016 I only work for the Dutch Federation. So I've been. I think it's Belgium and Holland. You know, we speak the same language. It are two different countries, of course, but it's really easy to work because you speak the same language, and I've been skating and working there my whole career. So that's how I build up my sportive activities over there.
Okay, but wait, before going to the other guys, it's interesting that you were talking about your skating background, because some people might not know, but there was an interesting skate record that was broke about 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, by Felix. But some people might not know that the previous hour record was yours. Am I right?
Yes, that's true. It's the 1 hour world record is also something that's in Holland. It's very very popular because a lot of Dutch skaters had the hour record. So because I skated a lot in Holland, obviously a lot of people talked to me about that when I was a skater. So now it's very. I think it's really amazing what Felix did, and also what Powerslide and Pascal Briand they worked hard for it, and it's now finally recognized by the World Skate. So that's really it's really so good for the sport, because now worldwide people can start working or dreaming. It starts with a dream, and then skaters can train hard and try to now beat Felix record, which will be not so easy because you will have to skate 40K.
Okay. It was actually, I thought it was actually quite interesting that it was so close to the 40, but because it didn't hit the 40, it made it like that more people will want to break it. Obviously, it wasn't on purpose, but being so close will make people want to break that barrier. And seeing that we have a former marathon world champion here with us, Crispijn, you know what's coming.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to ask you anything. I'm gonna get to the rest of the questions after. But when is the 1 hour record coming? Is it coming from your side, or the attempt is it coming from your side?
The day that Felix announced it to go to try to attack it, I think the same day Frank he texted me. He's like, you have to try, you have to do it too, because I think you can do it too. But yeah, you know, the marathons it's way different than than a track. If you have to do an hour on the track, it's really hard because you have a lot of corners, and you really have to go and practice for it. And I think I'm fit enough to go for an hour just full, but to every corner, that's really hard. So yeah, I don't say no yet, but maybe in the future, maybe I have to talk about it with the team and the coach. But yeah, it's a fun thing to attack, I think, and yeah, maybe it's possible to maybe go and hit the 40K.
Now, as someone that would probably be able to do it, even if you're not thinking about it at least yet, but obviously for Felix to contact you and ask you if you were interested in trying, the question that I'm going to make you next, and before going to the background of all of you guys, because that is obviously interesting, but before going there, what do you think of the technique that Felix used? Like technique/tactic, the way that he was turning and basically not even crossing on one of the turns. What do you think of it from the technical point of view and the tactical point of view?
Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job because he really thought about everything, and his strokes on the straight and his corner and how he went into the corner, and when he was tired just gives his legs a little bit of more rest, just going in and then accelerate out. And that's what he's also used to do, to go into the corner, have his legs still, and then accelerate out. And that's what he did when it was getting hard. And I think that's good what he did. But yeah, I'm more the guy that if you in a rhythm, you stay in the same rhythm. But yeah, I haven't really talked with Felix about it, what he was thinking about the last couple of laps. But I think next week he's here also to race, and then maybe I can talk about it with him.
Awesome. Because I'm pretty sure that different people would have different approaches to that. That's why I wanted to hear from you, knowing that you could be someone that could actually attempt it. Now, we got to go to Rémon. And to Rémon, I'm going to make the typical question, because there's a lot to talk here with all of you guys. How did you got into skating?
Well, I never knew what to do, what sport. So when I was little, I was playing outside with the neighbors, and we were roller skating. And as you know, long track skating is really big in Holland. So the step from the inline skates to the ice was a logical step. So they took me to a practice, and the first time on the ice was like horrible. I was crying and nothing was good. But when it became summer, then we had also inline skate practices and trainings, and I really liked it. And I was skating in a sponsor suit because my dad was working there, and they gave me a suit. And there was a race close to the place where the company was. They invited me to race, and in my first race I got a medal. So I thought I have to keep on doing this. So I kept on doing this, and I'm still doing it.
Awesome. Now, you're still doing it, obviously. You're still doing it. And now that you're actually fixing your hair.
No one saw it.
No, I'm going to need to ask you to show everyone at home something. We're just trying to break the ice here with everyone and trying to get everyone feels good. So please just show everyone who's watching this live what just happened to you. Not today, but yesterday, please. I know that you can. Just check this out. It was yesterday. Check the guy in the front. And that was it.
So you just introduced the world champion, and now when I got introduced, I got like...
No. I actually introduced you by actually speaking about skating, but then it wasn't my fault. You were just fixing. Sorry, there's something there. Okay, you were just fixing your hair, and you just reminded me.
Yeah,
Now, I'm gonna stay with you, Rémon. And you actually spoke about something that I wanted to speak with all of you guys, which is very interesting. And a lot of people know Holland for ice speed skating. You said that your first experience with ice was a little bit traumatic for you somehow, but that led you to trying inline skates. Did you stay with ice skating, or what's your relationship with ice skating nowadays?
After a few years, ice skating went pretty well as well. I also went with the national team for the juniors to a training camp. So my level was pretty high, but to do 2 seasons was really hard. And I also did studying next to my sport. So I had to choose. So when I became 20 or so, I stopped doing long track skating and just focused on the inline.
Okay, and it's been a while with you just on inline skating, and you don't even compete on ice skating anymore?
Since 3 years now. No, it's
okay.
When you want to do races on the ice, you really have to train for it. And when you're just skating once or twice a week, it's never going to be a fast time. So.
Okay. I'm gonna need to direct my next question to the coach, Frank. And before that, let me just try to, because someone's sound is not the best, I'm gonna ask just Crispijn and Rémon if they can mute their sound, just to see if we can identify whose sound is not that good. The question is to Frank now. So Frank, how is it for you as a coach to deal with all these ice skaters and inline skaters, and then how can you organize your competition, like all the competitions, and which skaters you can count on? Because I know that sometimes the world championships are right before the ice season starts, and it might be really hard for you.
Yeah, it's it's complex because the people who do really good on ice, of course they make a living out of it, so it's normal they they organize their training camps and the way they train for the ice. So when, for example, when the World Championship is not in Europe, then it starts really to be difficult because traveling to the other side of the world is more complex than when the World Championship is in Europe. But we try, and we have one big advantage. And I think Crispijn can, because it's really interesting, because Crispijn is like Crispijn and Rémon are in everything the opposite. Crispijn is a long distance skater, and he's a professional ice skater, and Rémon is a sprinter, and he is not on ice. So it's really the opposite. But we have one advantage, is that although Crispijn is making his living with ice, he really loves inline. So the passion he has for the sport makes it possible that he really tries to skate on inline as much as possible. But of course, sometimes it's not. You cannot do 2 complete seasons. You can't do the complete inline season 100%, and then just go on ice and skate the whole ice season. So that's impossible. So you have to make choices. And sometimes it's all the skaters are available, and sometimes they are not. So it really depends on where the championship is and which date it is. So that's I think, for example, in Colombia, they don't have that problem because everybody wants to do inline, because their inline is maybe as big as ice, or maybe it is. So that's a real complex situation, but also it's a challenge each year to make sure that the best skaters of Holland go to the World or European Championship.
Okay. It does make sense, but those are not the only two that you have. So like that's why I was saying like you need to multiply that by a few, because those are only one of them is not a problem. The other one can be a problem sometimes, but then you might need to multiply that, because like if you look at the Dutch skating team, what's the percentage of the skaters that are ice skaters?
Oh, I think Rémon. He says now he's not an ice skater, but he was before. He the last 2 or 3 years he's not racing on ice anymore. But before he was. So as a junior, he almost made the world championship team. So he could skate also pretty good on ice on long track. So I think that all the Dutch skaters, all the Dutch inline skaters, do ice skating. So it's as simple as that. So they grow, they grow up with it. It's a national sport. It's great, you know. It's because of that they learn to skate when they are 5, 6 years old with their parents on the natural ice. So it's great, but you know it's when they start to be really good, then the ice coaches they come and the ice coaches say, hey, please do a little bit. Please, no, sometimes they forbid to do inline, but once again, the skaters really love inline, so they really, Crispijn, I think he can, maybe he's in a better position to tell that, because he will always race on inline, although the ice for him is the way of he makes his living.
Okay, so let me start by first. Until now, I've been saying Crispijn. So I've been saying wrong. I need to say Crispijn. So I'm gonna change it from now. So Crispijn. let me. I'm sorry about that. If you had to put like Crispijn, if you had to put the percentage of your time that you dedicate to ice skating and to inline skating, how much would you say that inline skating takes from your time? Like 30%, 40%, 50%?
It depends really if there's a big race on inline, like the next 2 weeks. I'm already preparing for ice, so I'm on the ice this week and next week. But after that, we have National Championships Marathon, the 29th of August. And then it's 2 weeks, like fully focus on inline. And then it's not ice that is important, then inline is important. So it changes a little bit if we have big races coming up or not. But if the normal weeks, it's, what do you say? Yeah, but it's really it's really hard to say the percentages what we do, because we also train a lot of times on inline. Even for the ice, we train on inline, and but the full focus is ice skating, because that's where we make our living. And if a European championship or a world championship is in the program and it doesn't affect the winter, then we can make a really good training to the championships. So yeah, it really depends when where is the focus.
Okay. Now, you were speaking about something that I find it very interesting, which is you were saying that most of the people, obviously, the same Frank already said it, and the same Rémon already said it, that most of you guys, most of the ice skaters, there's some part of the season that you end up training on inline skates. We do know, all of us do know, especially you guys, seeing that every year, you see that a lot of inline skaters try their luck on ice skating, after some of them being very successful with inline skating, and some of them actually get good results with ice skating. Is the opposite that common? Like having someone that has been a ice skater for a long time getting into ice later and actually getting good results? Maybe Frank could give us, or any of you guys, but maybe Frank knows more about it.
We have a few samples, and it's most when the 100-meter was introduced in our sports. We had some ice skaters who tried on inline, and some of them did really good. For example, Jesper Hospes, he had the 6th place on the European Championship in 2016, while he was like only 1 year on inline skates. So because it's there are no corners because the corners are harder to learn when you switch from ice to inline. And I think just really quickly now, I think also a good example is Monique Kleinstra. She was first an ice skater, and now she stopped ice, and she is now a full-time inline skater, and she improves her technique year after year. So it's sometimes it happens, but in most of the cases, of course, it's the opposite. The inline skater worldwide now they dream of the Olympic Games, and so they start a program to learn ice skating.
Yes, and it's also obviously a way to monetarily have a better living. So people need to live. It's a way that most of the speed skaters find. I will get a bit more deep into it in a bit, but it seems like it's a way that people find to be able to live from skating. Now, you focus something very interesting, Frank, that I want to discuss with Rémon. Seeing that he's a short distance skater, you did say that Monique actually her technique have been improving since she stopped skating since at least stopped competing on ice. How do you feel about that, Rémon? Since Rémon was saying that he stopped competing on ice, did you felt becoming a better skater in terms of technique since you stopped taking so much attention into ice skating, or it doesn't really affect that much?
I think the biggest difference is that in the winter now I skate on the inline track, and I put my hours in inline skating. And when you skate on the ice, you have to do lots of training hours on the ice and with the ice technique. But now I can focus completely on the inline technique, and it's a little bit different. And I think the biggest difference is the time you put into one sport.
Yes, it does make sense. And I'm going to ask someone, which is Crispijn. Frank, you were about to say something. Do you want to keep what you're talking about? And then I will get my question to Crispijn.
No, I think because you said the improvement of the technique on the side of Monique, a skater who was her whole life an ice skater. It's normal she improves her inline technique because she was like when she started, she was in her 20s when she started focusing on inline. So she was a better ice skater than inline skater. So it's normal that it took some time to adapt to the wheels instead of to the ice blades. So, but I think it's, and then I give Crispijn, but I think switching from ice to inline each year, I think it's very good to improve both of the techniques, the ice and the inline, because you when you switch. After the winter, when you go to back again to the wheels, you have to, in your mind, you really have to restart, and you have to, like a beginner. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and the corners and the straight lines. And when you do inline the whole season, you don't have that reset. So in one way, it's very good for your technique, but of course, what Rémon said, that's a negative aspect. When you go on ice, 6 months you don't touch your wheels. So, of course, that's a disadvantage.
Okay, you were talking about technique, and again, that's what I was going to ask Crispijn about it, which is I'm going to say what I usually say, and I want you guys to please correct me. As a non-ice skater, but someone who's been skating for like 37 years of my life, I always say the same to people when they ask me about ice skating and inline skating. Usually on inline skates, if I want to slide as a trick, I use the edges, because the more I go on the edges, the more the skates will be somehow slippery. When I roll straight, I have grip. Obviously, I'm not going to try to turn with my feet straight. Now, on ice skates, it's not really like that, right? When the blade is straight, it's a bit more slippery and you get the grip on the edges. Am I right or am I wrong when I say this, Crispijn?
No, you're right, because inline is different, because if you put your skates straight and you have to push, then you have the pressure on it. You have to push all the time, because you have a lot of resistance with the road. And the ice, it's different, because you can glide on on the straights. You put it straight and then you can glide, and then when you put a little bit pressure on it, it's going like a little bit on the edge. Then you have to push. It's totally different than inline skating. And because we're on the ice right now, I did ice training this morning again, and Thursday we had an inline race, and I just
yes, we're gonna talk about it in a second. We're gonna talk about it in a second. Don't say anything yet.
No. But 2 hours in front, I was on the ice, and then you feel the difference between the two, and it took me 20 minutes to get used to the inline feeling again, but. Yeah, it's I like it. I like the switch, because it's different every time. And what Frank said, it's like giving you a little bit more pressure to put it to keep it under control, all inline and the ice. So yeah, it's more fun.
Awesome. I actually find it challenging to skate with a lot of different skates, and that's what I do for a living, which might seem quite weird, but that's what I do. I skate different skates almost every day. I don't remember the last week that I skated with the same skates for the whole week, because I actually really like that. I just share my opinions about the skates and all that. Now, I'm going to still stay on Crispijn, and I'm going to make you a question, which I was thinking before this, that I need to make it to you, which is, this year, obviously, we all know that it's been a completely different year from everything that we have experienced, meaning that a couple of months ago, we were expecting just, it's only going to be 2 weeks, and then it's only going to be a month, and then it's been almost 4 months, and then you guys finally had races starting now. I'm not going to ask you about the race, but I'm going to ask you about, after being almost 4 months without competing, how do you think that is going to affect your ice season, knowing that's where you put the most effort into it? How do you think not competing like you usually do for such an amount of time is going to affect your ice season this year, if it's going to happen the same way?
Yeah, I don't think it's really gonna make a big effect on my ice season, because now we can fully focus on the ice, and because we are on the ice, we are really the long distance skaters. So 3 hours on the skates, and long skates, long bike rides. There's no normally we have inline races in between, and then you have to change the schedule. But now you can just fully go with the schedule and do everything perfect. So I think maybe for the winter, it's maybe better, because there's no distraction in the summer. But I like the distraction because I like racing and inline. Yeah, I did it already. I started with it when I was 12, and I really love to do it. That's why if it's possible, I'm racing. So yeah, for me, I really miss just the racing, and we just had a race, and it's so much fun to do. I love to do it.
Okay. I'm gonna need to make a question to Rémon, because for everyone at home watching these right now, either live or after, so here's the thing. We're open about it. So while we're doing this, we usually have a chat here. And if there's anything that we want to say to each other, we can actually communicate. And Rémon was actually saying that not having a lockdown like most of the countries had actually played on the side of the Dutch guy's side. So Rémon, how was it for you? Were you able to train normally during the time that most of the countries were on lockdown?
Not normally, but we could skate every day. But the track was closed, so we had to go on the road, or we had to go by bike or whatever. But I also saw on Instagram people just staying in their houses and try to bike inside. But we can go outside every time. So I think we had really the time to focus on yourself, because we were not allowed to train in a group. We had to train by ourselves. But you really improve your technique and your start and everything, but just on the road and not on the track.
Awesome. I'm going to stay with you, and I have another question for you. Seeing that you're a short distance skater, over the last couple of years, we've seen amazing results obviously from Colombia, as we all know. Also, some very good results from the guys from the East. What do you think it's happening in general, with the European short distance skaters? Do we think we need something? I'm not saying that we're not there yet, but we don't have the same amount of high quality short distance skaters that some of those countries have. Why do you think that is?
I think the weather is important. In Colombia, they can train for the whole year, and they have a big group of skaters, and also the competition keep on going for the whole year. And in Europe, in the winter, everything, there are no races in Europe, so people go on the ice. People just train the whole winter, and I think you see also people go to Colombia in the winter to train there, or to whatever warm country.
We start having a lot of people coming to Portugal nowadays. But also, we interviewed Colombia on our last episode. They also spoke about the number of skaters that they have. Do you think that also influences a lot, because they have their own league, and they were saying that their own league, it's sometimes more competitive than the world championships? So
yeah, I think it really does matter, because they can train really hard, and the best will survive, and the people who can't keep on following the best group, they just fall off, and they still have a lot of good skaters left. But when we train real hard and we lose some people, then there's nobody left, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I fully understand what you mean. Now let me ask Frank what he exactly thinks about that.
Yeah, I think it's what Colombia, the big advantage they have is the number of skaters. You know, we see that in Holland on the ice, we have so many ice skaters that sometimes maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit when I say it's harder to be Dutch champion long track than world champion long track. That's a little bit exaggerating, but still, it's for a Dutch skater, it's so hard, for example, to qualify for the Olympics. It's every 4 years, it's such an amazing tournament. The whole country is watching it, so obviously that cricks up the level really, really, really high. So that's I think that's the big, and what Rémon said, the weather. You know, Crispijn now, maybe he was happy today he could go on ice because it's 38 degrees outside and he was skating on the ice. So it was refreshing now, but normally for us, for the inline skaters, when it's freezing, they cannot, we don't have a track where it's 25 degrees. So it's, I think, it's all a natural process. It's so natural that Dutch kids go on the ice, and I think it's normal that the South American kids go on inline skates. So that's really.
Yeah, it only makes sense. Having a more solid base to choose from will only allow you to have more possibilities to have a good pick. That's as simple as that. Now going back to Rémon, why short distance skating?
Well, I think
is it something that you choose, or short distance or short distance skating chose you?
Because he's lazy.
I'm not lazy. Okay, maybe a little bit.
we had that answer before. I was too lazy to skate for too long.
Especially to bike for so long. I can bike for 1 hour, 1.5, and then I think, okay, it's boring. But if I do bike for 3 hours or 5 hours, I really don't like that. But I started focusing on sprint just a few years ago because I think it's really important for juniors to develop both sprint and long distance. But sometimes you have to make choices, and you also because when you really want to get better, you really need to focus for it. And at the moment I made that choice, I think my sprint was better than my long distance, especially on international level, because I can race long distances in Holland and end up on the podium if I want and if I train for it. But when I go to, I don't know, Geisingen or so, the level is so different, and I don't have that. And I think my sprint is better. And since the last few years, I started focusing on it, and I kept on growing on it.
Okay. How does a coach see it? I'm sorry that I'm always going back into the coach. The thing is, I've studied sports science, and it's known that the muscle from a short distance skater to a long distance skater, it's different. So the body is different, can develop different, but it's also just since birth, it's already different. So that's why I'm asking this question to the coach.
Yeah, of course, the scientific explanation is really simple. Some people have their muscles, they have long muscles and
fast fibers.
Yes, and so that's of course something it's you have to deal with. You have it or you don't have it. And then one other, I think, very important thing is you have to, when you are a long distance athlete, an endurance athlete, most of the time it goes together. You like to go on your own on the bike, you 4 hours and hours. And sprinters, they are other types, and they really like to be together in a group and to compete all the time, to sprint each other. So I think what Rémon said, he doesn't like to go on the bike so long, but I think Crispijn, I'm sure he loves it. He goes for hours and hours, and then he comes back and he's really relaxed when he was like 4 hours on his own on the bike, and Rémon drives him crazy. So it's like a natural process.
And it's a mental game too.
Yeah, but I have something. Ricardo has something really funny. I think it's funny. Once I remember a conversation between Crispijn Ariens and Ronald Mulder, and they were talking about how many meters they had to skate for their money. And Crispijn, Crispijn, he said, I'm doing like 2 times a 200k, 5 times 100k each week, 50k on the ice. He was like 1000 Ks. And then Ronald Mulder, he said he skated like 10 times a 500 meters. So maybe Crispijn, I don't know if you remember that, Crispijn. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember, but yeah, I think Ronald
You need to rethink your life.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's better to skate sometimes a 500 meters than a 200k. But yeah, I'm really not good at the 500. So yeah, I made a choice.
Yeah, it was about it was about the prize money of a World Cup 500 meter, and then the prize money of when Crispijn, he had won the 200k on the Weissensee. So and they compared the prize money of the World Cup and the 200k. So that was really fun to see how long they have to be on the skate to earn their living.
Yeah, I think the prize money for the 200k at the Weissensee, it's 200 euro, so it's like €1 a kilometer. So that's not much. And Ronald is like, yeah, I do 500 meter, and it's like way more. So yeah.
Yeah, man. If we're gonna put that in a scale, if you guys think like the time that you guys both need to spend on skates to get to that, it's funny. Obviously, on the competition side of things, it might be a much shorter distance, either in distance and in time. But the training time that you guys need to put into skating, and not just on wheels, but like the rest of your life need to go around it.
Yep.
It's basically the same, either as a speed skater or as a long distance. Your whole lives need to evolve around it. Now, for you, Crispijn, I have a question for you that I didn't even knew about the 200 kilometers, to be honest with you. I knew about the 100 kilometers, and I didn't know about the 200. And my question was actually, how different it is, or how different do you need to be, like in your mind, to make the 100 or now the 200 that I know kilometers on ice, comparing to a marathon on inline skates? Could you compare it somehow?
No, it's not. It's totally different, because the marathon on inline it's so fast, and it's just 1 hour, and that's it.
Sorry, I need to interrupt you. It takes forever to me.
But yeah, if we compete and if we race, it's a marathon. It's 1 hour, and if you do then the longest distance we do is the 200k on natural ice on the Weissensee, and that's 5.5 hours, and that's totally different. Everything is going a little bit slow, so the race starts, and then everybody has to take easy to skate to start, and it takes way longer, and it's the mental part is it's harder on the 200k on ice, but the 100k on inlines that we have in the Holland, the Open Dutch Championship, that's not even hard anymore. The 100k, that's a little bit it changed because now the marathon teams we have in Holland, like 100k skate, that's a normal training, like a normal Tuesday training, just 100k skate. Yeah, so that's different. With 200k, it's way longer.
I might choose to start with the 100Ks instead of the marathon if it's not even hard. So I might choose to go with that. Now, this is for all of you. The question that I have, I know that you guys started competing again this weekend. How was it to all of you to get back to the competition after these last weird couple of months? I'm going to start with someone that didn't have the best start, and that is Rémon. How was it to be back on the track?
Actually, I had a really good start because we already started competing last weekend, and I won both races, so it wasn't a bad start. Just the second weekend was bad. But no, it was really nice to skate again and to compete again, because for me, it was almost 1 year without competitions, because I don't race on the ice, and I think Europeans last year were my last races. So it's almost 1 year ago. So I was really happy to show what we trained for.
Okay, and you had good results. You won 2 times last weekend, and that was the results this weekend. I know that what happened yesterday, obviously. And did you have any other race this weekend?
Yeah, today I got 2 times third, so it was good as well, even after my crash.
Okay.
But we are having nationals in 2 weeks and 3 weeks from now, so the focus is on that. And really happy that we have nationals, because it gets you a point on the horizon to work to, and
yes,
especially because next season is still far away.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like I was actually speaking with Felix about it. Like he had to find his own goal, because training without goals, it's just hard for any athlete. It doesn't matter. Even for someone that doesn't compete, you need to have goals. I'm talking about myself who doesn't compete, but you need to find your own goals. It doesn't matter what it is. For a coach, Frank, how is it? Are you going to be looking at the athletes and trying to build your own team? You're going to be looking at them the same, because knowing that they didn't skate, they didn't compete the same, will you go a little bit to what you know about their background? Will you be looking more at technique or just at results when you're building your next team after knowing that they were not competing for a bit?
Well, I think, we don't have to make selections because there are no world or European championships. So
yes.
So that's I think the federation they did a good job by I think from May. I think of course we were lucky compared to countries like Spain or Colombia or France, because from May we could start training in groups again, not together, but we were then with 4 skaters on the track. They had to be 50 meters between the skaters so we could train. But maybe it at the beginning it was really weird, but although they could not skate after each other, being on a track with 2 or 3 other skaters gave them a lot of extra motivation. So, and now having these races, I think, like Rémon said, for next year, if we didn't have this, then it's really a long time without racing, So now we have 1 month of really every weekend, 2 or 3 days they can race. So it's really good for for the motivation to keep on training and to be happy, so you can see everybody last weekend and this weekend. I think Crispijn, Thursday he was skating. It was really a hard race. They skated almost 44K average, but everybody was happy. They were so suffering, but they were happy they could suffer again. So I think that's the good part to see as a coach, that all the skaters are really happy to race and they are healthy and they and I hope that each country can organize a few races, because it's really important for the mind, for the skaters to I think that's the most important thing. Of course, for the condition, for the physical part, but for the mental part is even important now. We can see that everybody is so happy they can race.
Yes, and it's not only important for the mind, but also important for the sport. Obviously, when we are in the pandemic, some governments have different reactions to whatever it's happening, but for sure, for the sport, it's funny because you guys might be seeing it more than most of the other guys, knowing that in some places, like Holland as an example, the sales of inline skates went up almost 700%. There's 7 times more people looking for inline skates. Now, how many of these people are actually looking for speed skates? Because without competition, that somehow affects the sport. Obviously, it's a competition sport. It's not one of those that people do it just to move around. If we're talking about recreational skating or just fitness skating, is different. But speed skating, people usually compete. As you said, they were suffering, but we also know that they all wanted to suffer. That's why they were there. No one put them there. So they were there, right, Crispijn? You were suffering with a smile.
Yeah.
How was it to be back on the track?
Yeah, it felt really good to compete again, especially Bart Sphinx and Felix were there, and that helped also a lot. Then it's more fun, and so it was a little bit like a small European championship. It felt like that also, because I was pretty stressed before the start, because you don't know what's gonna happen. So everybody went a little bit crazy with attacking, and it was fun to do. I think my average heart rate was 180. And it was really crazy, but I had a lot of fun.
Okay, for someone at home who doesn't know what really happened, I know that I think you got 3rd place, right? Can you just tell everyone else who second? Okay, sorry, you got 2nd place. Can you tell everyone else who was the other 2 guys on the podium so that people know what we're talking about here?
Yeah, I was in a breakaway first with 7, and then with also we dropped some people. And then we were in the last couple of laps. I was only with Bart Sphinx and Felix Reiner. So for me it was a little bit hard because it was 2 against 1. But
yes,
Felix had he had also a hard day. So it was fun to race, and we all everybody just went full, and that made it really fun. So in the end, Bart he's sprinting way faster than me, so he got the win and I got 2nd. So I'm happy. I was just happy to race and just to really hurt my legs again.
that was a podium of world champions, and I'm gonna need to ask you something. I know that you have been a world champion. How was the feeling of being a world champion of inline skates?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. You started on inline, and then it's like a dream to be world champion, and then during the
Sorry
race,
to interrupt you. When did it become a dream? Sorry, me. Was it something from the beginning, or at some point in your life you saw it on the horizon, and from then you started dreaming in that way somehow?
No, it was a slow process, because it just every year you get better, and then you make like steps closer to your goals. Then first it's just national champion, then it's maybe European champion, and then I had a medal at Worlds, and then I was like, maybe if I have a good day and the race is good, and a little bit of luck, and then maybe I can be world champion. And I started to think about it and really focus on it. And that year I really focused on the marathons and on speed. And it was, for me, it was the perfect day. It was a breakaway, and then it was already a hard race. I attacked from the breakaway, and I got 30 seconds, and it was 40 seconds, and it was just a perfect day. But I didn't realize it till after the finish. Otherwise, just before I was thinking, just I have to go. Otherwise, I didn't really want to. Even the last lap, I didn't even want to think about it. I just keep going, and then after the line, then I was really happy that I became world champion. Yeah, it's a dream came true, but it's already 2013, so I feel a little bit old now.
No, but at least it was on an easy race, like the marathon, as you said.
Yeah.
Let me bring Frank back to the fire. Frank, sorry, there was some videos. There was some videos showing of you in the background, but I need to ask you something. You came from working with the Belgium team. How was the whole process of moving from the Belgium team to the Dutch team? And how do you obviously think a Belgian working in Holland? How is it? Obviously, you are super professional when it comes to your job, and that's why you have it. That's why you have the position that you have. But how does it feel on the inside when you see the Belgium team competing against the team that you train? It must be a little bit of an internal fight of emotions for you. Obviously, you are professional, but how do you deal with that?
I think we all, as skate lovers, I think we all enjoy when we see an amazing performance of other skaters. You know, when you see a great Colombian skater take a win, or when you see Bart Swings like last year in Barcelona when he first takes the world title on the long distance, and then a few minutes later he takes the win on the 1,000 meter. You know, everybody is standing, and so of course I enjoy it. But like you said, you know, when you are a coach, you try to achieve with the athletes you work with the highest you can. So I think it's I love the sport, and I love when I see a skater of another country put down a really nice performance. But of course, it's when you work day after day. I think there are only few countries where you are able to work on a professional level with inline skaters. So I think it's in Colombia, in France, in Italy. But for example, in Belgium, the skaters, the inline skater, they all work in clubs, and it's not on a professional way. It's on club level. So in Belgium, it's really very special because they have few inline skaters, but the skaters they have, they are really, really, really amazing. So it's a totally different process, which makes it for me. You know, I learned so much in Holland because of the process with the ice. And about the feelings, you know, I think I explained it. We all enjoy it, but of course, when you are the coach of the Dutch team, you want to get the gold medal with the Dutch skaters. So it's not that complex, you know. It's really when you work day and night with people, you are a team, and so it's really, you are in that cocoon, you know.
I was mute. I fully understand you, obviously, and like I said, you're obviously professional when it comes to that, and spending so much time with a group of people that will obviously come first, and it's obviously the results of your work. You want to show everyone that you're able to do something, and that's obvious. But it's a question that I just had to make it, knowing that you from one nationality. It happens a lot in other sports. Yeah. Sorry, go for it.
And I always say that as a coach, you are as good as the athletes you can work with. You know, because of course you have, as a coach, you have an influence on the process, but it's always the athlete. You know, Crispijn, he is a world champion, so it's. Of course, his whole career, when he started as a kid, he had coaches, but it's Crispijn who did all the training, who did all the efforts, who he goes to bed early, he lives like a professional skater. So it's really the skater who is responsible for his results. Of course, he needs a coach, but he needs good material, he needs good food. So the coach is one of the things that he needs, but the most important thing is the athlete. So I think sometimes maybe we forget a little bit that, but it's the athlete that's the central figure, and he is responsible for becoming a champion or not.
Of course, the amount of time that he put into it, it's the results. As much as the coach wants, if the athlete that day doesn't feel like it, it's not gonna happen. So we're about to come to an end, but I need to finish this with one very, very serious question, and that question will go for Rémon. And I want to know if he wants to talk a little bit about the after parties after the competitions. We just need to finish on a serious note with something very important.
Well, I think it's normal when people are together for a week and they live to it for a whole year. In the end, people want to have a party and put all the energy who's left in it. Also because as a professional athlete, you don't go party often. So
yes,
these are the few moments, and I think we've had really nice parties.
Awesome. I know that Crispijn doesn't have a lot of battery before he dies. Battery. Do you want to say anything, Crispijn, just in case something goes down?
Nah,
How is the partying side? Because you party on ice and you also party on wheels, so you party more than everyone else.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun to have on the end of the season to have a little bit of body and to release the pressure and to have some fun that normally you can't drink that much alcohol or just have fun and go make it too late or and now it's possible. So yeah, it's the parties are always fun. So yeah, I don't.
It's sometimes. It's sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
From my experience, also as an athlete, even if like in the 90s, it's sometimes where you actually met the real personality of some skaters, because people are with masks during the whole competition. You're on your own team and all that, and that's where the day that everyone comes out and talk about everything. And do you share the same opinion?
Yeah, it's always fun to like normally you compete and then you don't talk that much to your competition. You don't want to talk about it with other guys, because you maybe at some point you have to a little bit cut them off, or you have to be aggressive, or and so after
use the elbows and the shoulders.
But after the race, it's always fun, and that makes it a nice sport. Like the only real fight is always on the track and not after the race. So yeah, it makes a lot of fun then.
It's all about fair play.
Yeah.
And to the coach, does the coach go partying too?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
we have to be there to watch that everything goes right.
Well, as a former athlete, you could also coach them how to party. That's
No, but seriously, I'm always very happy when everybody is safe in the hotel, because it's so when the skaters, they are so excited, and it's always so nice to see guys of 25, 30 years who did have really hard races against each other on really on the edge, and then they are dancing together, laughing. So it's really enjoyable to watch, and and it's always nice to see the happy faces at the end of the tournament. But as a coach, you always feel a little bit responsible. So, and then still you are happy in the morning when everybody is at breakfast, and then when we go to when we can go home.
And hopefully not to have anyone from the other team there. Anyway, let me tell you something. This is actually a confession, which is, as I told you, I used to be part of the Portuguese team, but I was part of the Portuguese main team when I was very young. I was 15, and on my last European Championships on the Portuguese team, it was in '95. I'm not sure if it was Italy or France, but I wasn't old enough to go to the after party. So I never really experienced, and that's why I wanted to make this question, because I was too young to go to the after party back then.
But you can you are invited now when Europeans are next year in Portugal. You can join us. You can join us.
I will be reporting live to you guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed as much this conversation as I did. It was actually super fun to speak with you guys. Maybe we broke the ice very early and it was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said, Rémon, I didn't mean to say anything wrong about you falling or anything like that. We were trying to break the ice here. I really appreciate what you do on skates, and I wish you guys the best of luck with everything. I just hope this whole pandemic thing goes away fast and you guys can get back to normal, to the normal, if normal is ever like it was before. And to everyone watching this today, we didn't add that many questions, they weren't that interactive, but that doesn't mean that we didn't add a very good chat. So with that being said, if you guys watching this at home, if you enjoy it, make sure to subscribe to this channel. The whole goal with these out of the box show, it's actually to promote speed skating as much as we can. We've been interviewing every 2 weeks a different group of skaters from a different nationality. The previous one was Colombia. This one, we were with the Dutch team from Holland. In 2 weeks, we're going to be with a new team. So if you want to see who's the next team, then the best you can do is to subscribe, press on that bell button so you'll get a notification whenever we upload a new video or when there's a new video scheduled, so you know who's the next team. And with that being said, if you enjoy it, well, make sure to check us on the next one. Thank you, guys, and have a good weekend. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.